found his own kingdom and wore his crown upon a troubled brow.
12 things that have been confirmed about the upcoming Conan sequel that Arnold has revealed. Conan was my very first introduction to the fascinating genre of sword and sorcery and the incredible stories of Robert E. Howard. So, you have to pardon my excitement about the return of the Conan movie sequel after 4 decades. Because that's how big this news is for fans like me. Yeah, it's been ages since he first wielded a sword on the Hyborian plains, and Arnold Schwarzenegger has finally confirmed that King Conan is coming back. It sounds absolutely epic and almost too good to be true, but this is official news and not random fan theories. Speaking directly to the fans at the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, Ohio on March 8th, 2026, the 78-year-old action legend dropped a bombshell series of revelations that sent the internet into a frenzy. In this video, I've compiled 12 confirmed things we now know about the upcoming Conan sequel.
Rule shut is all with me.
I will have my own kingdom, my own queen.
It is officially happening. For years, a third Conan film featuring Schwarzenegger was considered a pipe dream. This was something that was discussed in interviews, but it never really materialized. All of that changed at the Arnold Sports Festival when Arnold looked fans dead in the eye and confirmed that King Conan is moving forward. This is not a rumor, not studio speculation, and not an anonymous insider tip. It came directly from the man himself, the one who has played the legendary Sumerian barbarian since 1982. After multiple failed attempts to resurrect the franchise, most notably the shelved Legend of Conan project, this confirmation carries real weight. The fact that Schwarzenegger is enthusiastically talking about it publicly signals that genuine development momentum exists behind the scenes. Christopher McQuarrie is writing and directing. I personally think that this is perhaps the single biggest piece of news to come out of the Arnold Sports Festival. Schwarzenegger confirmed that Christopher McQuarrie has been hired to both write and direct King Conan. Arnold described him in glowing terms, saying, "They just hired a fantastic writer-director who did Tom Cruise's last 4 movies. They just hired him, Christopher McQuarrie, to write and direct King Conan." McQuarrie is, of course, the Oscar-winning screenwriter and director behind the Mission Impossible franchise's most beloved installments, including Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, and The Final Reckoning. The man is a master of large-scale grounded action filmmaking with intricate plotting, and his attachment transforms King Conan from a wish list project into a legitimately high-caliber cinematic event. I have seen too many promising projects messed up because of the wrong people getting involved, and the presence of Christopher McQuarrie is definitely comforting.
Save the girl!
It's set up at 20th Century Studios. The project has a Hollywood home. According to reports sourced from Schwarzenegger's own comments, King Conan is being developed at 20th Century Studios, formerly 20th Century Fox. This is the same studio that has been actively courting Arnold for new projects, with Fox reportedly approaching him about a Predator return as well as a Commando 2 script. The studio clearly sees Schwarzenegger as a bankable star whose classic IP still resonates strongly with audiences. Having a major studio backing like 20th Century Studios means the film would have the marketing machine, distribution network, and budget firepower to make King Conan a serious theatrical release. I would certainly want this to be a mega project with a massive budget, and I'm happy that the right studio has this on its radar. The story is rooted behind Robert E. Howard's source material. The title and premise of the film draw directly from the legendary source material created by Robert E. Howard, the pulp fiction genius who first introduced Conan the Barbarian to the world in 1932 through Weird Tales magazine. Howard's stories chart the full arc of Conan's life, from wandering barbarian to seasoned warrior to king of Aquilonia, and it's this later chapter that King Conan will explore. The source stories, including Howard's only Conan novel, The Hour of the Dragon, depicted a middle-aged Conan whose crown is challenged by usurpers who use dark sorcery to overthrow him. The film's premise appears to be a cinematic adaptation of this very arc, which has never been brought to the big screen before. Conan has been king for 40 years and gets dethroned. Arnold himself teased the core plot in unmistakable terms. He told fans, "With King Conan, it's a great old story. Conan was 40 years as king, and now he gets forced out of the kingdom. There's conflict, of course, but somehow he comes back. This sets up a compelling, emotionally resonant narrative. Conan, once the greatest warrior alive, has ruled for 4 decades, and now, at an advanced age, he's violently ousted from the throne he bled to claim. It is a story about an aging legend confronting loss, exile, and the burning desire to reclaim what is his. For an actor like Schwarzenegger, now 78, this premise fits with remarkable authenticity. I am in love with the idea of a warrior king whose fire has never died, no matter how much his body has aged. He returns, and the chaos begins. The exile is not where the story ends. Arnold confirmed that Conan's return is the engine of the entire story. After being forced from his throne, Conan makes a comeback, and with it comes a tidal wave of mayhem. In Arnold's own words, somehow he comes back, and there's all kinds of madness, violence, magic, and creatures and stuff like that. This is the classic Conan formula, dialed all the way up to cover everything from politics, sorcery, and monsters, to the pure, brutal action colliding in an ancient world. The promise of all kinds of madness suggests McQuarrie and the studio are not just planning a quiet, introspective drama. This will be a full-throttle fantasy epic. Arnold will still be in the action, not just flashbacks. One concern fans immediately raised was whether Schwarzenegger's role would be limited to a storytelling device, where he would be sitting in a chair narrating while younger actors do all the fighting. That concern has been firmly addressed. Multiple reports confirm that Arnold still plans to take part in the action himself, and not just appear in flashback or wraparound sequences. This is remarkable for a 78-year-old, but it's entirely on brand for Schwarzenegger, who continues to maintain his physical condition obsessively. This was always his vision for the character, an older Conan who still fights, whose cracking bones and weathered frame make every victory feel earned and every battle feel legendary. The aging warrior concept was always the heart of this project. The concept of an older, battle-weary Conan is not a compromise born of Arnold's age, but it was a creative vision that excited him most. Going back to the earlier development stages of The Legend of Conan, producer Frederick Malmberg articulated the philosophy perfectly. Conan is 65 now, so he will have to fight through an aging warrior body, having cracking bones, aches, and having to get back into battle. The idea is that the most feared men in ancient tribes were not always the youngest. They were the ones who had survived everything and still came back. Schwarzenegger himself has repeatedly said this angle made the project creatively compelling, as older Conan carries wisdom, gravitas, and the terrifying credibility of someone who has survived 40 years of war and rule. Special effects will be massive. The studio has money. One reason previous Conan sequels never materialized was the concern that delivering a truly grand fantasy epic on a feasible budget was too difficult. That concern is now gone. Arnold explicitly told fans, now of course there's all kinds of special effects. The studio has plenty of money to make those movies really big. With modern VFX technology, studios can now create entire Hyborian worlds, armies, and supernatural creatures at a scale that was simply not achievable in the 1980s. This is a key reason the project is exciting now in ways it may not have been a decade ago. Think of what franchises like God of War have demonstrated about the appetite for mature, gritty fantasy. King Conan, with McQuarrie at the helm and a major studio bankroll, could deliver exactly that. That being said, I hope they don't take it too far into the special effects category, where it loses all of its old school charm. This is a sequel to the original films, not a reboot. Let me be crystal clear about something Arnold has made obvious. King Conan is a sequel to Conan the Barbarian from 1982 and Conan the Destroyer in 1984. It is not a remake, reboot, or reimagining. This is a continuation of Arnold's classic portrayal of the character, picking up Conan's story decades after those films ended. The 1982 film, directed by John Milius, ended with an epilogue showing a much older, bearded Conan sitting upon his throne as king, and King Conan will directly build on that image. This is significant for longtime fans, as it honors the legacy of the original films while opening an entirely new chapter that the franchise has never before explored on screen. A release date is likely 2028 or beyond. Arnold did not announce a production start date or release window, but based on the fact that McQuarrie is still in the scripting phase, realistic estimates point to filming beginning no earlier than 2027. I would say that a release in 2028 or beyond is the most likely outcome, given how much development still needs to occur. McQuarrie is a rather busy man in the industry, which could affect scheduling. That said, the fact that a writer-director of McQuarrie's caliber has been formally attached is the clearest signal yet that this project has real momentum, real deadlines, and a genuine path to production. Arnold is genuinely excited, and this time it feels real. Perhaps the most important confirmation of all is the one that's the hardest to quantify, but easiest to feel. I could see that Arnold Schwarzenegger is genuinely, passionately enthusiastic about King Conan. He was not giving a non-committal, we'll see what happens answer. He was describing plot details, naming the director, and expressing excitement about the scale and spectacle of the project. He told fans he was looking forward to all of these projects, plural, in a sweep that included Predator and Commando 2 alongside King Conan. This is a man who has been through countless failed sequel attempts and knows the difference between a project gaining steam and one going nowhere. Conan has been a part of his identity for over 4 decades. The passion is there. The creative blueprint is there. And now, for the first time in years, so is the talent and the studio backing. Could you still fault me for getting too excited about this project? But every positive piece of news aside, I will say that maybe we should hold our horses on this one because there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. Our favorite action star is not getting any younger, and Hollywood is known to sit on projects or cancel them at the last minute. You know, back in the day, Schwarzenegger was originally contractually obligated to make a third Conan film after The Destroyer, but he passed on it. That film eventually became Conan the Conqueror with a different lead. After Jason Momoa's 2011 reboot failed to ignite a new franchise, efforts were made to bring Arnold back for a project called The Legend of Conan, which had genuine development activity in the early 2010s before stalling. As recently as October 2025, Schwarzenegger told The Hollywood Reporter that rights issues were still a complicating factor. Now, in March of 2026, these obstacles appear to have been cleared, with 20th Century Studios firmly in the picture and one of Hollywood's finest action filmmakers on board. King Conan has been a dream deferred for over 4 decades, but with Christopher McQuarrie writing and directing, a studio with deep pockets, and Arnold Schwarzenegger who's more excited about this project than he has been about anything in years, that dream may finally be about to become a reality. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that the king comes back to his throne, and he brings madness, magic, creatures, and chaos with him, like the good old times. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this development and the chances of this movie actually getting made.